Welcome back to Prayog. In this lecture, we are going to concentrate more on single dimension arrays. Let us start with the next operation called merging. Consider two arrays A and B, which are initialized with values 16, 27, 67, 89, 90, and B is initialized with 10, 20, 30. Let us see how merging takes place. What is merging? See, merging is nothing but the process of combining two different arrays into a single array is called as merging. Say for example, you have two arrays A and B, and you are planning to combine the elements of B into A like this. This is what we call merging. Let us see how this works. Actually, you don't have any algorithmic approach in the syllabus. Only for the understanding purpose, I'm writing and explaining the algorithm. Here, you can notice that we have two arrays A and B. To manage them, we will be in need of two indices. First is I, which manages array A, and second one is J, which manages B. Okay. The algorithm merge has got four parameters: A with N, where N represents actual number of data items that are present in the array A. For example, the array A has got 5 elements, so that the value of N here is going to be 5. Okay. And the third parameter is going to be B, representing the second array, and fourth parameter is M, representing number of data items of the array B. So here you can see that there are 3 elements in the array B, so the value of M is set to 3. Now the algorithm starts with a loop, say for j is equal to 0 to m. That means a pointer j is set. Along with that, let us consider one more step. Say the first step is supposed to be I is equal to n. I is equal to n. So once this step is executed, a pointer I is set to point the last element of the array A. Okay. Now the array starts looping from j is equal to 0 to m. That means from the first element of the array B, it starts. Every time it is going to copy the array element of B to A like this. You can observe that A of I is equal to B of j. So A of I, actually this position, is equal to B of j. B of j is this position. You can see that B of j is represented like this, and A of I is represented like this. Into the position A of I, into the position I, the value of B of j is copied. Next, I moves to the next position manually because of I is equal to I plus 1. So this is I. Because of this step, I has moved to the next position, whereas the value of j is automatically updated by 1 because it is the variable of the for loop. So the value of j is moving to the next position, j. Note the value of j is equal to 1. It is still in the range 0 to m minus 1. In fact, it is not m, instead it is m minus 1. Now the value of A of j, that means 20, is going to be copied to this position. So copy this to this position. Next, I is equal to I plus 1. I moves over here, and j is equal to j plus 1 by the for loop. Okay, note the value of j, it is 2, which is still in the range 0 to m minus 1. That means 0 to 3 minus 1, that means 0 to 2, still in the range. Okay, next, a of I is equal to a of j, that means 30 is going to be copied to this position, and again I is equal to I plus 1. I moves over here. Note the point, this position is going to be 6, this is going to be 7, and so on. And also the value of j moves to the next position, which is representing 3, but it fails to satisfy the looping condition, and hence the for loop is going to terminate. For loop has terminated. It comes to step number 3. See, previously the array A was having 5 elements, 16, 27, 67, 89 and 90. Now after merging, it is having 3 more elements. We can conclude that if array A has n elements and if array B has got m elements, then after merging, the array A is supposed to have n plus m elements. That is what step number 3 is. Okay, and that's the end of this algorithm. Let's move on to the next topic of the discussion. It is searching. Suppose you are given an array having n elements and you want to find out whether an element called key element is existing in the given array or not. This process of finding out an element or the key element within the array and determining its position of existence is called as searching. You can notice that the searching could be successful. In that case, we will note its position of existence. On the other hand, searching could be even a failure. If it is a failure, you are going to generate a warning message saying that the search was a failure. If the searching was successful, then the position of existence of the key element is printed as the result of the searching operation. There are two different types of searching techniques. The first one is called as linear search. Linear search. And the second one is called as binary search. Let me consider linear search first. Consider an array having array elements 12, 3, 45, 26 and 1 with the name A, and naturally the indices are going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the linear search starts like this. See, you are given an array having n number of data items and a key element. Here the key element represents the element to be searched inside the array. Note the point, the key element can be any number. I want to find whether 26 is existing in the list or not. Okay, now the algorithm linear search starts comparing the first element of the array with the key element. The first element of the array is 12 is compared with the key element 26. Since both are not equal, the algorithm is going to continue comparing the next element of the array 3 with 26. Even 26 is not equal to 3. Next element 45 is going to be compared with 26. 26 is not equal to 45. Next, we are going to move to the next element. Now, the index I is pointing 26. and the key element is also equal to 26. Since both are equal, we can conclude that the key element is existing in the list at position number 3. So here search is successful. You notice that we started comparing the key element 26 first with 12, and then we moved to 3, then we moved to 45, and then finally we moved to 26. Since the key element is equal to the array element 26, we stopped searching. That means this method of searching is comparing the key element with the array elements in a linear fashion. That means it is comparing the key elements one after the other. That's the reason this searching technique is called as linear search. Now let us have the look on the linear search algorithm. The algorithm is named as L search with 3 parameters: A representing the array, N representing number of data items, and key representing the key element to be searched inside the list or the array. Now the first step of the algorithm sets a variable called as pose to -1. Here the variable pose represents the index of the key element inside the array. Say for example, consider the key element as 45, then the pose value is going to be updated to 2. Suppose key element is 26, then the value of the variable pose is going to be updated to 3 later. Okay, but at the initial stage, algorithm assumes that the key element does not exist. For a non-existing array element, naturally the index value is going to be an invalid index value. That's why it is -1. Remember, the index of any array element should be 0 or greater than 0. Okay, it can never be a negative number. Since the algorithm assumes that the key element is not existing in the array, the value of the index of the key element is set to -1, representing that the key element is not existing in the list. Later, it starts comparing the key element along with the array elements one by one under a loop. The loop is going to start with 0 to n-1. Every time it is going to compare the key value with the array element a of I. As you can see that the value of I is 0 for the first time. So this pointer is set, okay, which is pointing 12. This 12 is going to be compared with the key element like this. If key is equal to a of I, you can see here key is 26, a of I is 12, 26 is not equal to 12, that is reflected over here, that is false. Since it is false, see, when it is false, then it has to come back to the loop, because the for loop has no other statements. Remember, the if statement has got 2 statements, pose equals I and go to step 3. These 2 steps are going to be executed if and only if this condition is true. Since in our case key 26 is not equal to 12, okay, or key is equal to a of I is false, both are same, the control of the if statement is transferred back. I mean to say program execution is transferred back to the for loop again. Once the program execution control is transferred to the for loop, naturally the value of I is going to be updated by the for loop itself. It becomes 1. When the value of I is updated to 1, the next step is to compare the key 26 along with a of I 3. You can just have a look. The same thing, same step is going to work. If key is equal to a of I, in our case it is false. Since 26 is not equal to 3, that turns false. That's why it's going back to the for loop again, which increments the value of I to 2. Now 26 is compared with a of I, that is 45. Since 26 is not equal to 45, again this condition fails. So the program execution control is transferred from here back to the for loop. The for loop updates the value of I from 2 to 3. Now the key element is compared with a of I, where a of I is also equal to 26, key is also equal to 26. Naturally the condition is true. When the condition is true, then immediately the position of the key element, which is pointed out by I, is recorded and set to the variable pose. You can observe that pose is equal to I, executes this operation so that position is equal to 3 is recorded, and immediately it says go to next step or go to step number 3. See, in fact, go to step 3 is nothing but the termination of the loop. That means program execution control is now transferred to step number 3. Once the program execution control is transferred to step number 3, after the termination of the loop, the value of pose is tested. If the value of pose is greater than or equal to 0, then naturally the key element must be existing in the list and it is printed here. In our case, the value of pose has turned 3, so that this condition turns true, so that we are going to say key element is found at the position 3. That's going to be the result. Okay. On the other hand, suppose if the key element is equal to say 260, what happens? First 260 is compared with 12, which is not equal to 260. Next we are going to compare 3 with 260, they are not equal. Compare 45 with 360, not equal. Compare 26 with 260, they are not equal. Finally 1 is compared with 260, even that is also not equal to each other. So the value of the pose remains -1. Okay. Naturally this for loop terminates and comes to step number 3. Fine. And value of pose is going to be tested here. Pose greater than or equal to 0 is false, and it comes to else, and that's why if we are printing key element 260 not found in the considered example. See, after tracing the problem, we can declare the result like this. Result, key element found at the position 3. Fine. I hope you understand the concept of linear search. It's quite simple, and also you might have understood why it is called as linear search, because the array elements are compared in the linear pattern with the key element, and we come to a conclusion. And now let us concentrate on the advantages and disadvantages of linear search. See, linear search has got two major advantages. The first advantage is that linear search works on unsorted array. Unsorted means, consider this example. Consider this example. You can see the numbers are 12, 3, 45, 26, 1. These numbers are not at all in any order, either in ascending order or in descending order. Okay. Linear search do not consider any of these orders. On any list of values, linear search can work. Okay, that's the first advantage. That means linear search works on unsorted array. What is sorting? Sorting is nothing but arranging the given data items either in ascending order or in descending order. Okay, the first advantage. And the second advantage is that the logic of the linear search is pretty straight and simple. It is quite easy to understand. Okay, it is not that complex. Now, time to understand disadvantages. Number one, see, linear search requires more time to complete the searching when number of data items are more. Say for example, you have say around 10,000 numbers, and if the key element is existing at the last position of the array, then naturally number of comparisons will be more. Say you have got 10,004 numbers, and the phone number that you are looking for is existing at the last position of the array. In that case, naturally number of elements compared with the key element is going to be more. This is the first disadvantage. Second disadvantage is that the linear search is much inefficient. Because of its time complexity, it is quite inefficient, and it requires lot of time to complete the operation. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel, like, share, and comment in the comment section. Thank you.